All right, let's do some code. Let's move you guys to 3, 2. Okay, let's do ghosty. All right, so trying to remember where we were, and I'll read up a little bit more on this whole audio thing because it's not what I wanted to be. So we were writing some tests for our card components in particular, wanting to use JSDOM, right, as a virtual DOM. We're not wanting to, come on brain, it's kind of late here. We don't want to have a bunch of dependencies. So we're going to use JSDOM as our sole dependency. We're going to use a no test runner, and we have, we're using just straight web components. So no React, no Angular, none of that. So let's take a look, see if we can remember where we were. Let's see, name our session. Yep. Okay. Let's just so we can just kind of go over the project structure again. So you can see here, we don't have much in the way of dependencies, especially when it comes to runtime. This is just going to run straight in the browser right now. We'll add this to another project later, probably inside Electron or Tari or Whale, something like that. The idea is we want to make it easy to write different experiments. Zener cards are, I would say, relatively known experiment people do. It's a kind of a fun thing to play around with as a for technology platform to kind of build it out. I don't have to think too much about what the test is. I can worry about how do we collect the data and store the data and transmit data and things like that. So it's just a fun process, and we can kind of just think through how we would take something like this and build a project from it. So again, the cards, it's kind of like this guessing game. It's not supposed to be guessing, but the idea being somebody's either sending you this information, or you're predicting what is on the other side of the card, or you're seeing it with your mind's eye, however you want to look at it. We can come up with some different experiments that you can use these cards for to get some data on. So, sorry, I need some water. So you can see here, last week we learned about this import script. The import script is let's see. Ability or setup. Okay. It basically sets up some JSDOM configuration for us. So we get like a base level page, so to speak, and then a global this, because it for some reason or another does not load these things up, maybe for performance sake. So we're only really writing against these things for a test right now. So we can load those up at a global level for the tests, and then we can use them. So like things like the custom elements, we'll need that. Okay. Aside from that, if we go back to our package JSON, the help from Gemini actually on this, I was pretty happy with that. I'm not a big fan of AI, but this is pretty good. You pass an environmental variable just for these tests, and when we do our card component, go down here, we have to have an open shadow root, or sorry, an open shadow DOM, right? But I don't particularly like that. I don't like things bleeding in and out. I just want to have the interface, like the public interface that I want to have for the components. It would also probably make it a little bit better for anybody who's maybe trying to cheat the system. I would love to believe that people are going to do these experiments on their own, and the data was just going to come in. It's going to be nice and clean. But you know, you do have people that, you know, try to cheat the system. So we want to make that as hard as possible. So, and I would hope that maybe over time, if we get more people using the system, especially if any serious groups are doing it, there's a little bit more care and thought into how the data is recorded and tested. Maybe it's you have somebody there with you making sure you're not cheating somehow. So anyways, so nice thing here within Node, you have the process object, so we can check to see if that exists and just kind of go down the chain with some optional chaining, check for the node env, and if it happens to get that far and it happens to be test, we make it open so that we can do our testing. Otherwise it is closed. So I like that pattern. It doesn't put too much strangeness into our component. It's still nice and clean. And if we do our card test here, you can see it's a pretty simple test right now. I mean, looking at this, you wouldn't think that, you know, there's anything special set up here. It's pretty clean. You're not seeing things like jest. You're not seeing JSDOM being loaded or anything like that. We just kind of import the node test runner stuff. So we have assert, describe, init, and then we have our code component, our card component. And if we go down to the bottom here, you can see here we define it in custom elements, Zener card. So this is how you essentially load it up in a test or any other module. Like if I wanted to use this within the deck component, I would import it here and then it would become available. So we'll go ahead and describe our card component. Should run tests. You know, if you're doing TDD, usually I kind of set these up like you want to watch this fail, make sure your test suite's running, and then if it's true, or instead of true, make sure it passes. As soon as I hit your second test, we can probably delete this because you do have a refactor stage, right? And that's covered by this. Right, so you don't want to run a bunch of needless tests. If anybody's done this in their day job, you know that there's a lot of crappy tests that get written that don't really add much value. So clean up after yourself. So we're going to load the component here. We're going to set the attribute. It's not as nice as I would like. I would prefer like to actually be able to just kind of load something in like this. I probably could, but truth be told, this way's, or not this way. This way is clean enough, and it's probably better just to keep it this way, at least for now. And we do have some to-dos here that we'd still like to go through, but this is more like for building out like a mini testing framework. I'll probably end up creating some like, yeah, these testing utilities here. So I'll make like a tick or something like that in here just to make it clear what's going on. You know, I could probably remember over time what this is, but if I say await next tick, something like that, it's something I kind of already know, so I will just naturally know what that is, rather than wondering why I put this here 5 years from now. So we already figured this out. We can access the shadow root. Let's just make sure that I didn't fat finger something before I closed it. npm run test. I like to do clear first. Okay, so star equals Bob. Go ahead and do this. So we can access the shadow root now and get rid of this to do. And then we're gonna see, right now it says star. So it just says star. Because right now the card is outputting this. We're not displaying a graphic at this point. We'll get there. Go over here. Yeah, we got passing tests. That's cool. Now I know I just kind of rambled on a bit. Most of tonight was based around the audio, and I'll listen back and see how this worked. I'll probably do some more tests throughout the week. On like lunch breaks and things like that. So yeah, probably won't do a whole lot more tonight. I'll probably go till 9:30 my time, so about 15 more minutes. So let's see if we can think through some more tests, or let's actually go ahead and make this a little utility for next tick, because it seems like something that we're going to need to do anyways. So let's do that. And at some point I should probably get this up on GitHub. Do wonder, github.com. It's probably taken. It is. Nobody doing anything with it. Love it. Okay. Alright, well, yeah, that's for them. We'll just probably do like this. Yeah. We'll set up a channel on. Okay. No. Let's go ahead and make that utility we talked about. Do export. Actually, let's just go grab it. It's already there. Apparently I didn't grab it. Okay. Can that work? Right. Yeah, I don't think I can do that. I think I could do a one-liner. Actually, no, I can't. What am I talking about? Do export. I don't like a one. This seems like a lot for a one-liner. Dog's barking. Sorry about that. Okay, let's just see if this works. Okay. Might have been pretty easy. Let's see if this is actually doing what we want though. No, it's not. Oh, actually, it might. Good too. I think that was the reason. We have anything to pass into it, so I think we're good there. Time. Okay. Let's make sure nothing's stuck. Okay, we can get rid of this one. I always think that it'd almost be better to have it be like a callback that has these in there. But this is probably okay. There's probably other instances where we would want this. Maybe you want next tick and have it make a change, do a check, do next tick, or then make a change, tick, and then do another check. So this might be better for sequential stuff. We could probably leave this for now. Okay, could load the component. I realize that this is probably, I could do both these checks in here, but I'm trying to set up something where we can check this to do. Okay. All right, so this one should fail. So we want to see if, yeah. Gotta see how the color shows up. I forget in a few weeks. So we have a div, assuming we're gonna put a class on that div. Okay, class. Okay, we can look at the class list. Oh, cool. Contains, we're going to say Bob again. We're going to say true. I think this returns are true or false. Yeah, it's got a Boolean. Okay, false is true. So we want to see. Okay, so we did card dash and then the color. Nice. All right, we got 2 tests. So it's the time. Do a little bit of cleanup here. I'm not going to dig into this just yet. I don't generally like having these hard-coded in tests, even though it makes the test a little bit longer, because it ends up being, I put it. It's just harder to edit later if you need to. I mean, these tests are pretty basic right now, but just as a practice. Let's go ahead and just set those. Shape. Here we use a template literal. Color. Alright, so these should still work. Cool. Okay. Okay, my phone is going nuts. I don't know if you all can hear that buzzing or not. If you can. Do this real quick. So we're going to go ahead and check to see this global. I'm basically going to dump out the body and see what it looks like to see if it's continuously pending or if it's like just a single one each time. I'll go with it, whatever. So dot log document dot body dot to. Let's just see what this gets. I'm gonna do one of each just so. What I thought. Okay, let's do a dot. HTML. I think it's a property. Okay, this is what I was worried about. Okay, so we need the ability to reset. I do believe we have a before each. Let's go look at our setup. Okay, so body's empty, so we're in luck. I need to figure out how to filter that out, that's annoying. Okay. Alright, we're in luck. So now, this thing with the test, or with these variables, I can just change it here. Oh, if I had followed my advice, shape, color. Okay, let me see here. It's resetting. And tests are passing. I like it. I could have added to do here. And put this down here. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. We had some progress both on the audio and the on our test suite. This is working pretty well. I'm actually pretty happy with this. Again, these tests are pretty superficial, but honestly, this component's pretty basic. It's more about just getting this going and figuring out how we're gonna do these things right now. So, I do tend to stream on Thursday evenings. I know looking at Twitch stats, it's not the best time, but that's the time I got. So if you would like to follow along, probably be on around 8 to 8:30 Eastern time next Thursday. Thank you. Bye.